is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. We're in the Mothership Studio 22. It is Wednesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, I guess. You know, Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, the difference between St. Patrick's Day and Cinco de Mayo? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? This is an offensive joke.
Oh,
well, I'm
then
telling you.
I'll take a pass on it. I was just going to say the difference between probably tequila and what is it?
Beer
Guinness?
Or whiskey?
Yeah.
No, the difference is nobody pretends to be Mexican. There you go. See, there it is. Savannah Hernandez is in the hot seat.
What an intro. What an intro. Thank you so much. I love that.
Exactly. Party Val Steve is at the pub holding it down. The Puppet Master Mark driving us into the nether regions of all things green, and I pinch back. I'll pinch back.
You've used your one Mexican joke for the day. You're done.
I know.
And Irish too.
I told them, did we leave the meme in that I talked about? We left that in the show the other night. That was pretty strong. I didn't get any negative emails about that one. Anyway, Savannah, welcome to the show. Savannah, of course, the executive producer
Of Slightly Offensive. Yes, thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be here. Usually I have to talk to Elijah all day, so it's nice to finally have somebody else to look at. Yeah, another white man to talk to.
Exactly,
Great.
another white dude, a boomer. I don't even understand. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to figure out, like, I had to look up a word this morning because I made a comment on social media, Steve.
Oh, no, you looked up a word?
I had to look up a word. Sometimes there's new terminology and stuff that comes along. I got to figure out what it is. The word was incel.
Ooh.
I didn't know what an incel was. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
It's an involuntary celibate. All right?
Oh.
So it's a dude that wants to get laid but can't.
Oh,
right?
okay,
He wants
yeah.
to, and so he gets pissed off at the dudes. Like a lot of these internet trolls and stuff, they're just incels. They're just white dudes sitting naked on a folding chair in the basement at mom's house.
I think I remember somebody making that kind of comment. We were in Washington, D.C. down the street, and there were some people like in this big argument. There's fights going on and stuff. This is CPAC a couple years ago, and I heard somebody yell, "You just need to get laid."
That was me.
Oh,
that was me.
Okay,
that was me talking to Nick Fuentes' crew.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
So I have experienced a lot of these people on the street as well. So similar to Elijah Shaffer, I've gone out and covered like Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots and protests, right? And a lot of the men who come up to me and try to push me around, you know, I've gotten punched by these men, kicked to the ground. A lot of them are, you know, what you would categorize as these incels. I feel like it's a lot of that pent up anger and rage that they have to go out into the world and scream at small people on the street who, you know, they can bully because
you guys are crazy, first of all. You and Elijah going out putting yourself in everything from riots to protests and I mean, Elijah's had the gun put in his face. He got his lip busted in Philly.
You know, that was actually, it was Philadelphia. That was actually our first trip together. We went to Philadelphia to go cover the riots, the looting. And I just remember the first thing that I thought when I saw him get punched in the face, I was like, are you okay? Also, I think we should record a video for BlazeTV right now. I think we should, you know, record a Twitter video so we can let people know what's going on, that journalists are being attacked. This isn't the first time this has happened to him. It's not going to be the last time, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy experience, and it's been nice to take a little bit of a break from it.
Yeah, well, they put the walls back up around the Portland courthouse, and God only knows what's going to happen when this Derek Chauvin case goes down.
It's so weird how walls work. Sometimes, like, only when it comes to like democratic cities and, you know, trying to protect the stores and whatnot there, but when it comes to our borders, like, no, we can't apply the same exact logic at all. No,
we can build walls around the Capitol building in D.C. And we won't even get into Elijah Shaffer and Capitol D.C. and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't work on the southern border.
Yeah, you know, it's just like Joe Biden. My favorite thing about his inauguration is that he was surrounded by walls and guns, but no one in America is allowed to have guns. No one in America is allowed to be surrounded by a wall because, you know, that's something that's privy only to Joe Biden and the Democrats, people in power. We're not allowed to experience, you know, safety or the ability to own our own weapons in this country at this point. That's getting impeded on more and more every single day.
Joe's getting in trouble. We're going to talk about that some in the next block. Old Joe, Steve. That's why people always say, what experience do you have to be governor of Texas? And I'm always like, what experience does Joe Biden have to be president? I mean, the guy hasn't done anything in 48 years.
You have to be a certain age. You have to be a citizen, right? That's the only
35 years old. You got to be a citizen in the state for at least 5 years.
Requirements met?
Yeah.
You know, I think after AOC got in office as a congresswoman, that really just set the precedent that anybody in this country can run for office and get in easy peas. Let's do this.
And just have a big enough mouth about it. We got a lot to talk about today. If you ever go to a barbecue joint, and listen, we live in Texas, so we go to barbecue joints, and the next day you're still digesting all of the meat, you know that feeling? Here's a tip for that. Drink red wine. That's right, I didn't stutter. Drink red wine. Not only does it taste great, but red wine actually makes you digest meat more effectively. You a meat eater?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You're not one of them crazy vegan people, are you?
No, why would I do that to myself?
I love to offend vegans. In fact, according to some studies, it even makes red meat healthier, but not all red wines are equal. You don't want some mass-produced red wine full of chemicals and pesticides. Instead, you need to check out the Extreme Altitude Malbec from Argentina. Extreme altitude means grapes are grown at around 9,000 feet. They're fed off of pure snow melt, which means there's no excess chemicals, with notes of blackberry, leather, smoke, and dark cherry. It's delicious. The guys over at cowboywines.com are telling me they just got another special shipment of these wines in, including one from the third highest vineyard in the world. I'm going to save you 50% off if you go there today. Just visit cowboywines.com. That's cowboywines.com. We'll be back in a minute. You know, normally what we do is we try to tell people to go follow our friends on social media. You got banned on Twitter.
I did.
What did you get banned for?
I got banned after I got retweeted by President Trump last year. I was with Elijah Shaffer. We were covering the Million MAGA March, and I got banned after he retweeted my footage. It went viral, got 10 million views. And, you know, of course, this footage was inciting violence. It was showing white supremacy, so it's natural that I would get banned. I'm kidding. It was a pan of everyone singing the Star Spangled Banner in unison in Washington. It was a beautiful moment. And they said that they banned me for evading a suspension, even though that was my only Twitter account.
Wow.
And, you know, I worked 3 years as a journalist on the ground, putting my life at risk, going in to protest, anti-lockdown protests, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, the works. All of my work gone.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. You're not getting it back, are you?
Oh, no, definitely not. I've tried appealing. You know, I have a lot of connections with people at Twitter. I've tried to have them reach out for me, and I'm not getting it back at this point. And what I think a lot of people don't realize, too, when people do get banned, especially if you're a journalist, is how much it impacts one's career. Like, I'm so lucky to be the producer of Slightly Offensive, work with Elijah Shaffer. But if it really wasn't for him, my footage wouldn't be able to get the reach that it does now, because Twitter was the way that I was able to expose what was really going on in the streets of America. And that's all been taken away now.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Sav says, was the Twitter handle.
It was.
Sav with one N is on Instagram.
Yes. My footage is still there. Go check it out.
Yeah, so follow her on Instagram, and got some good video commentary from her as well. Every now and then Elijah says something that's pretty profound, but that's every now and then. But they're obviously hammering down on this. California bill proposes removing cops who express religious or conservative beliefs. I mean, what could go wrong, right? Arbitrarily defined as hate speech, or they're affiliated with a hate group. The bill is known as California Law Enforcement Accountability Reform Act. CLEAR Act is what it stands for. Combats the infiltration of extremists in our law enforcement agencies. Mandates a background check for all officers who have exchanged racist or homophobic messages. And then, of course, the question is, how do you define racist or homophobic? I mean, everything can be labeled as that now.
Chad, so when I was on Twitter, when these were my early days, I posted, oh my gosh, I love Chick-fil-A so much. Mm-hmm. And someone commented and they were like, wow, why do you support factory farming and, you know, the violence towards animals? And it was at that point that I realized that everything is hate speech to somebody. Right. And, you know, looking into this article too, the word that really stood out to me is the word extremist. We are at a point in society right now where we are equating Christianity to extremism. We're equating conservatism to extremism. extremism. We've seen the media outlets, Democrat politicians continue to put conservatives in this box and try to tie us to this. And it's a very dangerous path that we're headed down, because now we're discriminating against who's allowed to serve in our military, who's allowed to serve in our police forces because of their religious or political affiliations. I thought this was America.
Yeah, no, well, it's slowly becoming not that. Our buddy Steven Crowder's getting hammered.
Oh,
online
I saw.
now
Yeah.
for his so-called racial stereotypes and all of those things that he's done in sketch comedy bits and stuff. I've gone back and started watching Chappelle's Show, and I'm back on the first season. That's comedy.
Yeah.
Where nobody is safe. Nothing is safe. And to watch those unedited versions of that whole deal, I mean, because, they used to have to bleep this or blur that out or whatever
Chad,
when it was on
honestly,
Comedy Central.
So I've been doing this thing where I'm watching old comedy and old TV shows from the 90s, and today's TV is so different. I mean, if you listen to like Eddie Murphy Raw, oh my gosh, it's like one of the most offensive comedy shows. And like you said, nothing's off the table. Comedy back then was comedy. We could laugh at everyone. No race was off limits. It was a joke, and everyone was able to just really and truly enjoy this. And now we've gotten to a point where we're always walking on eggshells, and it's just exhausting. Like you can't make fun of anything anymore.
So where were we talking about? We were talking about. I was talking with Jesse Jennings earlier. Did you see the thing, Steve, where the basketball commentator made some kind of racial slur or whatever? Did you see that?
I'm usually up to snuff on racial slurs and stuff, but I'm totally out of the loop the last few days.
Well, he issued an apology, which it doesn't matter if you issue an apology. That's why I always say be unapologetic.
Never bow to the mob. Never bow to the mob.
Never apologize. But his thing was his blood sugar had gotten low. He's diabetic, and he says he gets a little grumpy whenever his blood sugar gets low, which I can understand. And he said some things that he didn't mean, and he apologized. He said it was still no excuse or whatever.
Well, when that happens and you're drunk, you should get like a free pass. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like just automatic.
When you're drunk or have Tourette's. I just claim to have Tourette's all the time, and I just,
Call your buddies' names.
Yeah.
You wouldn't normally call them in broad daylight.
Steve, you're muted. Rookie mistake.
I'm not muted.
Mark's got him muted.
Mark's got me muted over there.
See, cancel culture has hit Studio 22.
Hit me.
In the flesh, happening. It follows me everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't handle this. I really can't.
Could we like put a blur over her face, like witness protection on this thing? But this is ridiculous. And I'll tell you another thing. This is another side note before I go. These people who want to, if you express a certain belief or whatever, like everybody is virtue signaling in such a way that they don't want, like they have to go overboard to prove that they're something. Like they have to go overboard to prove that they're woke or that they are not homophobic or they're not racist. And it's like you're projecting so bad. Like the douchebag the other day that tweeted the thing about Bill Burr and the Grammys and saying he was married to a minority sex slave. And actually being married to a black woman, that was just him really hiding. A lot of times, he wasn't saying about Burr, but he said a lot of times people who do that, they're just hiding their racism.
But more importantly, did you see how his wife responded to that? Because that was amazing.
Exactly.
Well,
it was
married
great.
A Catholic, so I can make Catholic jokes.
That was the only reason.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the top reasons.
That's why I work for Elijah Shaffer, because if you work for a white man, then I can joke about the white race. He can joke about the Hispanic race.
Yeah, I want to hear your best white joke. Give it to me right now.
Nobody has any good white jokes.
Nope.
I know. I'm like, I don't put me on the spot like this. I'm not the comedian here. Chad is, okay? I'm just here as our token Hispanic person for St. Patrick's Day.
And the beauty about you, Sav, is you can even pass as Asian.
I am Asian, actually.
So see, there you go.
See, I'm all of it.
You're all of it. So you can make fun of everybody.
That is my favorite part about it, and I feel like that is why Elijah's show has, we're such a good mix here, because we got the Hispanic, the Asian, we've got a white man, we've got all the races covered, we've got our diversity coalition. Nothing's off limits, nothing's off the table. That's my favorite part about the show, is that, like you said, people are always walking on eggshells. Nobody wants to hurt people's feelings nowadays. Guess what? I want to hurt people's feelings.
Me
because
too.
we are so soft in society today. I'm tired of the safe spaces. Millennials are so pathetic. My entire generation of people is so pathetic, and I'm just like, let's hurt people's feelings. Let's bring back shame culture, because we have that's why we're seeing right now, the push for obesity is healthy. There's 50 genders. No, that's not normal. Let's stop pretending that it is.
Right.
Let's hurt people's feelings.
Exactly. I love it. That is amazing. That is what I'm talking
I mean,
about.
I fat shame Chad all the time.
Hey,
Exactly.
it's working.
That's
it's
why I've been
working. I
losing weight.
see it. I see it.
weight.
He's
I've
losing
been losing the weight.
Yeah,
I've been on the
losing
stress diet. It's fantastic. You just,
Shame is very effective. It
food
can be
just
very
makes you want to
effective.
vomit. The thing I was going to get to, though, this virtue signaling, is now what's pissing me off is the people holding up their vaccination cards.
Oh my!
And
Chad,
they're putting it
don't
on
get me
Instagram.
started. Don't get me started on this. Woo!
Which I don't care if you get a vaccination, but this like you're holding up your card to prove that now you.
Dude, it's the new veganism. Like, you know how everyone is like, oh yeah, I'm a vegan, by the way. Okay, great. What was your name again?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm a vegan.
I do
That's what-
CrossFit and I'm a vegan.
Exactly.
And
now
I'm vaccinated.
So I do CrossFit. I'm a vegan and I'm also vaccinated.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty much way better than
Yeah, I did a joke years ago online about that, about the thing about being a vegan or being a part of CrossFit and how you have to tell people about it, and people got pissed off at that. Well, you just don't understand. I don't give a shit if you're a vegan or not. I really don't. I don't care if you're gluten intolerant. I don't care if you're lactose intolerant.
Keto now it's
it's keto. I mean,
and I did it for like
oh my God, I had to hear about it for 2 years about him being on a keto diet.
still on it. I
long
just don't
years.
talk about it as much.
Exactly.
So,
Steve used to be keto this and keto that on the road. That's
yeah,
all
and
it
then
was.
he got on it and dropped 30 pounds, and he was like, "Dang."
And then he
Yeah.
was like,
And I gained it back.
Let me
Yeah,
tell you
I
about
gained it
keto.
back.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the stress diet, but I don't walk around talking about my stress.
You know
well,
what? I'm
that's
on the
not
stress
true.
You are
diet right
now.
now too, and it is so effective. But here we are. Yes, yeah, we're not pushing that on other people.
Right.
Most importantly.
Well, that's the difference between a
Maybe we should.
maybe
Be at the
we should.
buffet,
That's our
like,
point.
When we're at the restaurant and they're yelling at you, put on a mask. You give them a card that tells them how to go on the keto diet. Help them out a little
Dude,
bit.
that's my response when people tell me to put a face mask on. I'm like, yeah, probably not. Like, I understand that, if you're obese, that you can die from COVID at a higher rate. So maybe what we should really be enforcing is like mandatory workworkouts for people and healthier
Exactly.
eating. I don't know, instead of face masks. That's just my
So
2 cents
let me
on
give
that.
you perfect. This is what happened to me yesterday it's the night before at dinner, and I'm walking to the restroom. I'd been sitting at the bar. I walked to the restroom in this restaurant, and a lady sitting at her table looks at me and says, "You're not wearing a mask." And I said, "You're not wearing a mask." She said, "I'm seated." And I said, "Well, I want you to sit there and think about what you're saying to me right now. The fact that you think because you're seated, you can't get coronavirus without wearing it. I mean, the insanity of that whole thing. People like that should be told they're stupid.
Chad, when I tell you we need to bring back public shaming,
Yeah.
100%. When it comes to this face mask nonsense, because the exact same thing happened. Look, even Dolly can't handle the face masks anymore. She's
Dolly's-
going crazy.
She's slinging stuff all over the room.
The same exact thing happened to me. I was standing up waiting to use the restroom, and this obese couple, and again, I don't like calling people out for that, but at this point in society, when it's an obese couple that are looking at me and they're like shaming me for not wearing a mask, I'm like, you should probably never leave your house again then, because you clearly don't care about your health, and if you did, we would be able to see that in your lifestyle, but it's apparent that you really don't care, and we all know that the masks is just a form of, people being able to tell other people what to do.
That's what it is.
And we need to shame them. And it's like, why should I wear the mask? Scientifically tell me why. Scientifically tell me how COVID spreads and why wearing the mask is going to save your life.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're sitting down, you can't get it. That's ridiculous.
It's the
Absolutely
new
ridiculous.
religion of safetyism. The talisman of the religion is the mask. It's a virtue signal.
Yeah.
It is I was talking about this on the show last night. Where you that is your way of saying, I'm a little bit better than you. I'm more superior because I'm doing my part. So I'm going to put my mask on in my car before I get out to go into the 7-Eleven and buy my Diet Coke, which is ant poison, and I'm going to get my chocolate bar or
My
whatever.
pack of cigarettes.
My pack of cigarettes, and eat a slice of gas station pizza, and I'm going to do all this stuff. But I put my mask on, so I'm just a cut above everybody else. Pisses me off.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Isn't it so crazy that in 2020 and 2021 that just going outside with your bare face is now a political statement?
I know. And I like to see people's faces.
Yeah.
I like it, like
I
they're
like to see
smiling.
most people's faces. Some probably need to keep wearing a mask.
I was at that restaurant the other night, and my waitress, she was a lovely person. Her name was Summer. She had pretty eyes. Have no idea what the rest of her face looked like.
Yeah.
She could have had a meth mouth. I don't know. She didn't talk like she did. I don't think she did. But I had to assume, because I never, in 2 hours of having dinner with a friend, I had sitting there, had to assume what her face looked like. didn't have a clue. Never saw it.
And I feel like the sadder part of this too that a lot of people forget about is that there's a whole generation of children that have been raised that don't who've never actually seen like people's faces before. You know, there's so many TikTok videos of like people taking their kid to the park for the first time, and the child there is just looking shocked, like, I've never seen so many kids all at once. Where's everyone's face mask at? And so it's so sad that we have an entire generation of children who think this is normal. And that we're impeding their own development in this way. It's very sad.
It is. And don't speak out against it, because you could never be a cop in California.
Yeah.
Because you'll probably
because
be
you're
labeled
anti-science. Dr. Fauci said
an extremist.
15 days to slow the spread, and that we need to wear a face mask, but actually maybe we don't. But, you know, just in case, let's do a double face mask. And also, when you get your vaccine, you won't have to wear your face mask, but just still wear the double face mask just in case, because you never know.
And that's what somebody said to me the other day online. They were like, let's just take 90 days. And I'm like, that's been a year. Hey, listen, wearing a face covering, physical distancing, which, by the way, according to Fauci, is down to 3 feet now. But he still don't want you to do anything about it, like go back to school. Hand washing. There's all these ways that you can protect yourselves from COVID-19. And yes, we know it is a real thing. Eating a healthy diet is something that you need to do. It's essential to building a strong immune system so that your body's less susceptible to infection. And according to Carlin Rafey, he says, as a registered dietitian and professor at Virginia Tech's College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, that's what you got to do. Well, coincidentally, Field of Greens is packed with 18 clinically researched essential fruits and vegetables, plus green tea, ginger, turmeric, beets, stuff you're just not going to eat or take on a regular basis. It's like having a bunch of fresh fruits and vegetables in a jar. Field of Greens can support heart health, your immune system, metabolism, blood. Is that Steve over there? Good God, you're a rookie. Your blood pressure. And it is filled with pre and probiotics. It'll help your digestion. It's good for everybody, young or old, even the athletes in your home. Just put a scoop in a glass of water, stir it up, drink it, you're done. Go to brickhousechad.com. Get 15% off your first order with promo code CHAD, I spell it, Chad, at checkout. It's the easiest and fastest way to start living a healthier life. Available in multiple flavors, brickhousechad.com, promo code CHAD. We will be right back. So Joe Biden, I mentioned earlier, I like the fact that the media is kind of calling him out on his BS.
They kind of have to at this point, right? Yeah.
They have no choice. Because here's the thing. The media, they can, like, they protected Barack Obama. They had to. They couldn't let Barack Obama fail. Trump couldn't succeed. Joe Biden is iffy because, let's just face it, he's the puppet anyway.
Yeah.
He's not the end game. He was just the Trojan horse. He was the only electable one. And if it comes down to protecting him or making sure that they're protected, the media is always going to choose themselves. They're going to make sure that they look good. So they've got to report this crisis at the border, but they're just changing the language. So now they're not in cages, they're in holding cells.
Yeah.
Or it's not a border crossing or port of entry or anything. It is a reception center.
And they send FEMA down there, right?
Yeah.
And when you send FEMA somewhere, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a
they're at
crisis.
729% capacity. Yeah. These kids don't even have a place to sleep. They're having to take turns laying on a concrete floor. Where's the outrage? I mean, if this was going on at 729% to capacity, if that was happening under Trump, holy crap, they'd be losing their freaking minds. But Biden made the claim, he said, we're not holding children in cells and are separating from parents. And New York Times said, BS, that's exactly what you're doing. So, good for them in that regard. The children being separated under Biden are not being separated under the Trump administration's zero tolerance policy, which received pushback at the time. However, in a clip published by ABC, Biden never refers to Trump's zero tolerance policy and says they are not taking children from their parents, which is just not true. USA Today noted the migrant children often arrive with a grandparent, other siblings, a human trafficker, other relative. That was my part, by the way, because that's a fact. But they're separated until federal officials can confirm the accompanying adult is their relative, as required by U.S. law. Law, right? Law, remember those things? It's amazing. And now we got 3,000 quote-unquote migrant teenagers that are going to be housed at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center right here in Dallas, Texas. And Somebody asked me yesterday, they said, is Greg Abbott powerless to do something about this? I said, spineless is the word.
Now, is that Coyote bringing them all the way up here, or are we doing them on buses?
Bringing them all the way up I-45.
They need to do
35 and 45
have
from
the Coyotes. Maybe
Yeah.
they pay extra to get up here and do it that way.
But, I mean, 3,000 migrant teenagers. I mean, what could go wrong? If you remember, you've always been in Texas, right?
I have been for the past couple of years, but
For
I
a
lived
while.
in New Mexico. I was right on the border of Juarez when I was in college. So, I've been in border states most of my life.
I can remember back when Katrina and Hurricane Irene hit Louisiana, and everybody got out of New Orleans, had to vacate, and a lot of them moved to Dallas-Fort Worth. A lot of them moved to Houston.
I was in San Antonio.
A lot of
at the
them moved to
time.
San
A lot
Antonio.
came to San Antonio.
And you know what happened? And now these were American citizens that had to get out. Once they moved during that crisis, they never left. They became citizens of these places.
And that was my biggest question, too, is, okay, we have 3,000 15 to 17-year-old illegal immigrant males coming to this Dallas Convention Center, right?
Yep.
Where do they go after that? No one ever, takes that second step and asks. No one in the media is like, so what are we doing with these unaccompanied minors at this point? Where are they going?
Exactly.
No one ever wants to talk about it. And, too, going back to if this was under the Trump administration, I thought it was so funny how the media was circulating pictures during Trump's administration from the Obama administration of kids in cages.
Yeah.
And now that, they can't use those old pictures, now that it's Joe Biden that's in power, it's like, oh, yeah, no, these kids are not in cages. They're just in holding facilities. Jen Psaki's not going to answer any questions. We're just going to keep circling back to it indefinitely until everyone just kind of looks the other way because another one of Joe Biden's bad policies is passed. So instead of looking at the border problem, we're now going to be looking at the outrageous tax hikes that are coming instead.
Exactly.
And that's what's been happening with this entire administration. It's just like catastrophe after catastrophe, and we're just basically like moving from one point to the other, and everything in America right now just feels like a huge mess.
Yeah. And speaking of Jen Psaki, could somebody get her a hair clip? I mean, that
Or
woman
a public
plays
speaking class, maybe.
something. That woman plays with her hair and gets it out of her face more than anybody I've ever seen. Ever. Anyway. What was I going to say? This one right here. Do you know horse milk is better for you than cow's milk?
Ew.
Right?
Gross.
Who's been sucking on the horse, Steve?
Well, I think, in our culture, it's different, but there are cultures that drink horse milk.
Well, yeah, exactly. The Kazakhs.
Yeah, I was going to say,
They've discovered
you go
that
over
the
to
mare's
some
milk-
parts of Asia.
This was, I came across this headline. Candace gave it to me, and I was like, this one we have to talk about, because to me, this is real freaking news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're actually getting to the news that is impacting America
Yes.
on this show. I'm glad that we're discussing this topic because horse milk, who knew?
Yeah. So imagine if we were providing these migrant teenagers mare's milk, horse milk, instead of cow's milk. It would be like a human rights violation. But who knew?
What is going on in this country at this point? I have no idea.
Yeah. They cut the. Oh wait, no. Let me get to this one. Hang on. Candace gives me these things and I love it. Teachers compile a list of parents who question racial curriculum and plot war on them. Infiltrate, shut down their website, expose these people publicly. A group of current and former teachers in Loudoun County, Virginia, compiled a lengthy list of parents suspected of disagreeing with the school system actions, including its teaching of controversial racial concepts, with a stated purpose in part to infiltrate, use hackers to silence parents' communication, expose these people publicly. See, this kind of thing that pisses me off.
Me too.
This
You got
pisses
that bigger problem, pull your kids out of school and teach them at home.
Yeah, see, I get in
Honestly.
trouble when I say that.
I don't. I did it in 2010. I pulled
I
four
was
of them out of school.
homeschooled. I would advocate for that 100%.
I homeschooled. We homeschooled.
Yeah. It's definitely the better option because if you send your kid to public school at this point, they're just going to get indoctrinated all day long.
And see, people get pissed off because they say, well, you're just anti-public school system. Yep, pretty much. Doesn't mean I'm anti-teachers. God bless those of you who are out there with good values and actually go to work and you've educated yourself and you're trying to do your best. But not everybody out there is doing that. Mm-hmm. It's the educational system I have a problem with.
Right.
Because they're brainwashing institutions.
Well, and if I choose to pull my kid out of school for a day to go do something fun, that should be my right. I shouldn't have to write a 3-page report on why I'm doing So
Right.
And
that's kind of what started my whole deal when I said, you know what, I'm done with y'all.
And you know what always bothered me with the public school system too is we are forcing kids when school was in session to sit down for 8 hours a day, and then we're sending them home with homework.
Yeah.
I mean, how is that helping our children at all? Like, I don't know. I feel like our education system is so flawed. We do need to be homeschooling our children. We do need to bring back these traditional values. I think that's why as a society, you know, we've seen this intense push for feminism, Black Lives Matter, all of these very radical ideas that there's 50 genders. They're learning all of that in school, you know, from their liberal teachers, from their fellow classmates. Bring your kid back home, teach your kid traditional values, teach your kid the value of, you know, education, being proud of their country, because that's another thing that's not taught in schools anymore. We're taught to hate our country, and then those kids grow up, go to college, and then go out and become crazy liberals on the street who are screaming into the ether.
Well, let me just tell you.
It's amazing how science, you know, they use science for everything except when it comes to genders.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's, you know, so many genders. They teach that in school.
Yeah.
Well, and then don't complain about it when your kid grows up and then goes to these institutions such as college campuses and universities with these academic bubbles with these professors who have never tested their wild-eyed theories in the real world. They're just pushing papers around. And your kid graduates after 5 years with a degree and undecided. Don't complain about it because you didn't do anything. And as governor of this great state of Texas, not only are you going to learn civics again, not only are we going to get rid of standardized testing, but you're going to learn American history, Texas history, and you're going to have to pass the citizenship test before you can graduate high school.
I think that's extremely important and something that we all should be doing, because right now, and the reason why, you know, man on the street content is so popular, Elijah and I love going and just talking to your average American, is because, hey, did you vote for Joe Biden? Yeah. What are the 3 branches of government? What does that mean?
Exactly.
That's the average voter.
That's
no one
exactly
knows what's
right.
going on in this country, and that's why, too, all the people who voted for Joe Biden are like, yeah, I don't know why gas prices are raising. Like, that's really weird that that's just happening all of a sudden. Like, you know, our relationship with foreign countries just is kind of altered. China's superseding our military. How did this happen?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Diesel's at $2.65 right now, but hey, demonstrators, talk about man on the street. Sav will tell you, they burn down buildings, they loot businesses, they threaten people's lives. Criminals get out of jail free card because of COVID. They're talking about defunding the police. Listen, right here, we just got a deal talking about Portland cut police funding and got 2,000% surge in murders. This is the stuff that's going on. People are purchasing guns like never before. The need to be prepared for you and your family's safety and security has never been greater. That's where U.S. Law Shield comes in. They keep their members informed about ever-changing state and federal gun laws. And as a member, you'll learn how you can lawfully defend yourself and your family. $10.95 a month gets you immediate 24/7, 365 access to attorney-answered emergency hotline. You won't pay a penny in attorney's fees if a nightmare like self-defense scenarios ever happen to you. Now, U.S. Law Shield, they're not a law firm. They are underwritten by third-party insurers in many states. State law and insurance regulations apply. You need to see their website for the applicable underwriting company and terms of coverage. Call 833-8-GUN-LAW. That's 833-8-GUN-LAW, or visit uslawshield.com/Chad for a special radio offer. And you got my word, you will feel better having U.S. Law Shield on your side. 833-8-GUN-LAW or uslawshield.com/Chad. Be right back. I'll tell you how basic I am.
How basic?
I said whenever we started this show, I said, we're going to use this show as an excuse to just continually bring beautiful, smart women in. So we've had Natalie and Lisa and Sarah, now Sav and Candace, and all these just incredibly smart,
you know, it's a great
women
marketing tool. It's kind of crazy.
Nobody wants to see this.
Like, men like watching smart women talk about
Amazing,
politics.
isn't it?
Isn't that so weird?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
I show up.
That's nobody wants to see this. I mean, I don't even dress anymore. I don't even like.
Hey, my mom likes your show. There's still a market for that.
Moms always love me.
Chad Prather.
Moms love me. That's the thing about that. I always have these, 20-somethings that come along and they're like, my mom loves you. Can we take a picture together?
Have some of my liberal musician friends that their parents love you.
Exactly.
And I think it's funny.
Hey, God bless them. God bless the parents. And God bless Dolly for yelping. The dog. It's the dog. I've always said you got to keep a cute dog around. That's the only way. They've discovered more Dead Sea Scrolls. Those things have been around forever. I don't know if y'all realize that or not, but the Dead Sea Scrolls, they just been in the cave all this time. They discovered dozens of Dead Sea Scroll fragments bearing biblical texts found in the desert cave and believed hidden during a Jewish revolt against Rome 1,900 years ago.
So there's going to be some new stuff that we didn't know about? Like King James didn't
a
get hold of?
couple additions.
Yeah, we're
Pretty
going
much the same stuff.
okay.
Just old.
I thought
There
maybe
it
we got
is.
some new stuff.
Yeah. Stimulus check prompts mass murder. That reminds me, on Chappelle's show, they did a whole show about what would happen if they gave reparations.
Oh, no.
And it was talking about, and I mean, stuff only Chappelle can get away with, talking about what the black community would be spending their money on. And it was hilarious. And he ain't wrong.
No,
Shut up, Steve.
I ain't got to. I just
Shut up,
know.
Steve.
You know, and there is an element of truth to that, because right now the only thing that I've seen on Twitter since the stimulus checks have dropped is everyone like, oh my gosh, I'm getting my new Jordans. I'm going to go to Burger King. Give me the
Exactly.
throne. You know, everyone's making memes about all the stuff that they're going to buy, which don't happen to be bills for
Hey,
some
no,
reason.
Stereotypes are based on fact. Stereotypes are not necessarily racist. Said right here.
Until you start calling out the individual stereotypes. Like black people have never denied being well endowed. Black men have never denied that. Like that's a stereotype they will not deny.
Yeah.
Asians will not deny being good at math. That's a stereotype they will not deny.
That's one that I don't fall into, sadly. So that's why I'm in media, because I'm so bad at math.
Yeah, you got executive in front of your name, so that's kind of cool. I don't even have that. So.
But this is a sad deal. Indianapolis, argument over stimulus check. 25-year-old man shot the mother of his child and killed 4 of her relatives in an Indianapolis home. He was hiding in the attic when the police found him. $1,400 stimulus check. Thanks, Joe Biden. That's on your hands. Let me tell you something. This whole, do you understand? $1.9 trillion for a stimulus package that we're already, what, $21-22 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
Do you ever look at the internet or the National Debt Clock website and just get anxiety watching our debt go up
I don't, because it's not
so
real.
much?
Okay.
That's true too.
It's not real. It's
yeah,
just
I mean, we're
numbers.
just
They
printing money at
but
this
it is
point.
real.
It was real at one time.
In that,
okay?
it's real in that, and this is what I've been saying over and over and over again. And hey, Dolly, hi, baby, crazy dog. The thing about it is, the dollar is going to burst. It is going to be devalued to the point where, boom, it's worth absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that's why so many people are invested in crypto right now. Yeah, crypto is booming right now. What I think Bitcoin.
26,000.
Yeah, Bitcoin was at 55,000 the last time I looked at it this morning.
Way up.
Yeah, so Bitcoin's going crazy. I'm invested in Ethereum as well,
Me too.
because I feel like that's essentially the next Bitcoin. And it's because so many people realize that the Federal Reserve, the government just keeps printing money, and they're just pumping the dollar back into our economy, and it's all just gonna burst. It's not gonna be a good thing at all. And here we are. Like this is just our reality at this point.
Trust me. There's a few other Bitcoins that I will, or crypto, I should say, that I will invest in that I like.
I just don't know if that's real either, y'all.
Okay, invest in gold then. Invest in gold
Yeah,
then.
I have gold and silver.
Exactly.
You know I do
Yep.
precious metals.
I have silver.
And
can't
you have a
afford-
piece.
I can't afford gold yet, but I got silver.
Same.
But listen. The crypto
One
thing,
ounce.
I'm telling you, last year's trading at 3,000, now it's at 55,000.
Dude, it's crazy because everyone's
legit.
like, oh yeah, crypto's not real. And I'm like, well, my bank account says otherwise.
That's exactly right. When I hit transfer, guess what shows up? Money.
Cha-ching.
That
And
NFL player did half of his salary, and it like quadrupled or something like within a few months.
And let me tell you, I heard some, Candace, estimates on GameStop yesterday. Lord Jesus, I ain't selling yet.
You're still holding.
I'm holding.
Oh my gosh. I'm an idiot.
I've sold, but I bought back.
Chad, I'm an idiot. I bought in at 320, I think, when it peaked, because I was like, all right, I got to get in on this. It's a movement. Let me buy in. I sold at like 150 because it started tanking, and I was like, all right, I'm not willing to lose more money on this. Now it's back up to what, like 250?
It was at, I bought again yesterday at 206.
Oh my, that whole movement is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
What about
it
this
is.
is.
artwork they sell now? They sell like
Like
Yeah,
digital
well,
art.
don't even
Not-
get Candace started on that.
because that's bull. That'd be like you're buying just a digital artwork that it's yours.
It's a JPEG, basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a
people are
JPEG.
paying millions of dollars for it. And it's like, so you're telling me I could get the exact same thing in a screenshot on Google, but you have the rights to it, so that's
Yeah.
$46 million now?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
No, it doesn't. It
That's
just shows
fake.
you.
It's nothing's real, y'all.
But it
It's all
goes back
fake.
to the original point you were making, is we're living in a society in America where, or at least in the first world, where people have never been through anything. They've never been through persecution. They've never been through oppression. They've never been through, and it's almost like we crave pain. That's why we can't laugh at ourselves anymore. That's why comedy's dead, because we can't make fun of ourselves.
Is that why you haven't worn socks in a week?
No,
you
that's just me
crave
being
pain?
lazy. I have hit the default lazy mode.
I see.
3 weeks.
I
So
see.
what you were talking about a while ago about the stimulus checks hitting,
and I need to
you
do
could drive
laundry.
through my neighborhood right now, and there's big giant screen TV boxes at every other house.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they're stimulating the economy, but they're not,
And Chad, too, going back to your point about how our generation, or my generation specifically, really has not gone through any hard, tumultuous times here in
And
this
my
country.
generation as well, for the most part.
Yeah, and that's why, too, again, we are seeing such an intense push for communism and socialism on the street. I was thinking about this last night. I couldn't sleep. And I was just realizing, like, communism in America is not normal. Dependency on the government is not normal.
Right.
Wearing a face mask is not normal. So why are people so willingly giving up their freedoms? How did we
Right.
get to this point? And we've gotten here because no one has really, truly experienced what they're pushing for.
Yeah.
All of the people who lived through socialism and are now living in this country free, they're the biggest advocates against it because they lived through it and they understand the repercussions of what bringing that in looks like.
A good friend of mine, he's been a guest on the show and will be again, author Larry Alex Taunton, had dinner with him the other night. He was a guy who I was at the restaurant with for a couple hours, and I couldn't see Summer's face, and then I had the walk into the restroom episode. He just got back from 2 months in South America. He'll go down there and he'll go to Colombia, he'll go to Brazil, he'll go to Peru, he'll go to all these different countries, and is specifically meeting with refugees who escaped Venezuela.
Yeah.
And when you mention socialism to them, it's like they just shake their head. They're like, "How? I mean, why would you ever entertain?"
Exactly. And that's the most frustrating part about all of this, too, is that you can go and look at other countries as an example of what will happen if we institute these bad policies. Again, socialism, Venezuela, they were eating zoo animals over there. If you look at Germany,
Mare's milk.
Yeah, Germany, London, Sweden, if you want to see what open borders and no cultural assimilation really looks like, let's look to these other countries as an example of what's going to happen. But people don't want to do that. People are like living in this utopia of, no, let's just have open borders, like peace and love for everyone. Everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
We'll just keep printing more money, dependency on the government. Bro, the government doesn't make money. We
Right.
do. The government
That's
takes
It's like
money.
Steve said, it ain't real.
it ain't real.
It
But
ain't
the
real.
left is doing a way better job at selling their shit than we
Steve's
are.
fired
ours.
up. Steve's fired
they're
up.
doing such a good job. That's my biggest beef with the right and conservatives. I'm like, the left is amazing at getting their point across, getting their message across, at being very effective at, we're living in a time right now where people are afraid to speak out on their own streets in America because you will be beaten down if you speak out against Black Lives Matter, against Antifa, against Joe
Right.
Biden.
And you'll get canceled on Twitter. Hang tight, we'll be
Exactly.
right back. Hang on. You're always welcome on this show. I
Thank
want
you.
you here as much as you can. And forget Elijah, forget all those guys. Glenn Beck. Glenn had threatened to come on the show today, but no.
Oof. Yeah, as many shows as I can get on to hurt people's feelings on,
I love it.
will.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Savannah Hernandez. Follow her on Instagram. Keep up with her commentary. Sav with one N on Instagram. Check her out. Make sure you're following her. What I want you guys to do is subscribe to BlazeTV, blazetv.com. You can use promo code CPS. They'll give you a little discount on an annual subscription. blazetv.com/Chad. And go to watchchad.com. That's where all the fun stuff is. We're going to be in Shawnee, Oklahoma, Friday and Saturday night. You can go to watchchad.com for more information and tickets. Sav, thanks for being on the show. Steve, everybody else, love y'all. God bless you. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.
Bye.